It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name's Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Peachy keen. Oh, crap. Apparently it's a peachy day. I mean, geez.
It's a peachy day. Mm-hmm.
They're going to be peaches. I want to be a strawberry.
Dare to be different.
That's just not right.
Because I'm so sweet.
So are peaches.
Once again, I say that's just not right.
I hope everybody's doing okay out there. So, what's been going on in your corner of galaxy?
Go, strawberry, give it to us.
Oh, man. I don't really have a lot.
Oh, Lord. She goes on for an hour when she says that.
Yeah.
And hit the clock. Go.
Yeah, already did it.
I mean, I'm still watching my true crime stuff. Although HBO, they released I don't know if it's rebooted or whatever it is. It's called Jellystone, with all of the characters from Yogi Bear and Grape Ape, and definitely not a kid's show. I mean, I guess it could be, kinda, but it was highly entertaining. I finished watching it all in one day.
Damn.
Yeah. I don't normally like when they do, the rebooted, or I don't know what they call it when. I guess it is rebooted when they make it new. I don't know, but it's not your typical Yogi Bear cartoon, Matter of fact, Yogi Bear's a doctor in this one, so definitely not your typical Yogi Bear. But yeah, so if you get a chance to watch it, I think they've only put 10 episodes out on it so far. But speaking of rebooting things, have you guys seen the new? I think I've bitched about this once with the Rugrats, where they've totally redid it, and it really, really sucks now.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Yeah. Like most of the stuff that they reboot, right?
Yeah, it could be that you always complain about the same things when they reboot things, but, keep going.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Like I said, I think so far that's been the worst that I've seen rebooted. Everything else, they kind of touch in on the originals and go forward or give you some kind of similarity, so you're not completely lost in a cartoon, So yeah, other than that, I really haven't done much. I mean, now if I wanted to talk for an hour, we would go into the lawsuit that's going on right now, but I don't think we want to touch on that, do we?
There's a lawsuit. I mean, that. I don't know how much people need to know about that from us. I mean, Lord, we don't really know. I mean, there hasn't been that much about it yet, has there?
Well, I mean, there has been the slap down and Disney coming back with, we're in the middle of a pandemic right now. What did you expect us to do, kind of thing? And
I don't know, fulfill your fucking contract?
Right, but see, that's the thing. If they're wanting to fight this in public, which there's a reason she went public with this. A lot of times there's a lot of actors who get upset with their contracts. They go behind the scenes, they get it taken care of. It never reaches the public. So there's a reason she went public with this. It depends. Disney has thrown certain wording around. She's thrown certain wording around, and it all falls down to what was written in the contract. Did it say exclusive theatrical release, or did it just say theatrical release? That's what's going to trip her up. The only way that she's got a good foot to stand on is if it says exclusive theatrical release. So I'm kind of waning. A lot of the law sites, I have a couple of YouTubers that I watch that really get into the lawsuits and stuff and kind of break down the language for you. Waiting to see the papers because she'll have to submit part of her contract to, submit the filings on this. So kind of curious on that, If they didn't say exclusive, I hate to say this, but I'm kind of on Disney's side. A lot of people right now are still not excited about going to a movie theater. I mean, I'm not. Hell, even before the pandemic, I wasn't crazy about going to a movie theater. But
join the club.
There's still a lot of places in lockdown. There's still a lot of countries in lockdown. So if they give her a part of the streaming that they did too, then I could see it being fair. But if not, it's kind of, they could have delayed this and delayed this and delayed it, and nobody would have gotten paid, They
already delayed it and delayed it.
Yeah, they delayed it a year.
Right. And
over a year.
I think they were kind of hoping things will get better. Things will go back to normal. But I don't know. Most of the chatter that I've been reading, a lot of people are in the mindset that I'm in. They've already shown us now that we don't have to go to a movie theater to get that movie theater experience. I can sit at home and drink a beer and smoke a cigarette if I want to, which is much more appealing doing that in my pajamas than going to a theater now where I'm around a bunch of people who I don't know if they're washing their hands, are you being socially distant, especially with now things are they're going downhill again. So I think a lot of times when people are like, oh, they're a big company. Yes, but when you make a movie, you have so much money and investments tied up in this thing to where nobody's going to see anything out of it until it hits the theater. You can't start writing paychecks and definitely can't cash in on bonuses until this thing hits the theater and you see what it does. So I could see them kind of saying, come on, we've got all this wrapped up in this. How many millions? Let's see if it flies. And I know that some actors are getting upset because they're like, Disney's just trying to boost their streaming service. Disney doesn't have to boost their streaming service. There was idiots like me who were lined up months before they even opened their stream to sign up for Disney. I grew up with Disney, my kids grew up with Disney, and now my granddaughter is growing up with Disney. So it didn't matter to me that Cruella or Jungle Cruise or Black Widow was going to be on there. That wasn't a perk for me. And honestly, I think other than Mulan, I'm not going to pay an extra $30 on top of whatever I pay for Disney to watch a movie. Especially when I know, give it a month, it'll be back on there for free.
Not even if you can sit in your living room in your pajamas with a beer and a cigarette? Come on now.
Well, I can do that after when it's free.
Sounds enticing.
You can do it at the movie theater if you're willing to get thrown out. But
Right. But I mean, if there was something that I really, really, really wanted to see, then I would pay that. Because honestly, I would always take somebody with me, which usually is one of my kids. You always get drinks. You always get popcorn and da-da-da. It's more than $30 by the time they get done with you, So it's really not that bad. I'm just not. I guess I'm old fashioned because I can't see paying $30 for a movie I'm watching at home and I can't keep it. I don't have a DVD to put in my case, or you know what I'm saying. I want, if I pay for it, it's mine. So I think HBO has actually hit this a little bit better than Disney has, because they release both of them simultaneously in the theater and at home. But they're not charging me an extra $30 to watch Suicide Squad, you know? It's part of what I'm paying them for. Now, I can see Warner Brothers wanting to boost their streaming services a lot more than Disney did. But another thing, whenever they were talking about the streaming service and they were talking about all of these wonderful Marvel shows that they were going to give us and da 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 da, Black Widow was announced then to be released on streaming. So I've had Disney since it opened, but she should have said something then. Hey, wait a minute. My contract says you can't do that.
She probably did, honestly.
From what reports, some of the reports I saw, that she and representatives approached Disney and said, let's restructure it to where we can do something about being streamed.
Yeah.
Now, whether that happened or not, it probably did happen. They're going to have to prove that happened.
Right.
Because
Disney
from what I read,
is really good at covering things up.
Yeah,
they are. And they have more money to tie this thing up than she does too. You know. And I like Scarlett. The thing that I'm scared about her doing this, yes, if you feel like you've been wronged, like I said, it all falls down to the wording on her contract. You know, Disney will go by every cross your letter, dot your I, period on that paper. But I feel like, and I don't want to get sexist here, but especially being a female and her standing up to the mouse, it's kind of labeling her as problematic and diva, because women aren't allowed to get upset and stand up for themselves, you know? So I'm afraid what this will do to her after, even if she is right. And you do get the bonus of, what was it, 20 million that I think she's after. And you do get that. Is that $20 million going to be worth that next producer not wanting to take a chance on you because they don't want to get sued? I mean, look what's going on to Ray Fisher right now. Nobody wants to touch him. He had every right to stand up and say, hey, you can't do this to me, but people still labeled him, and now he's a problematic star, you know. So I'm kind of more worried about the fallout from this to her career than what it's going to do. This isn't going to hurt Disney. I mean, you know, even if they have to wind up paying her twice as much as they were originally going to, it's going to be a scrape on their knee, you know. Brush it off, go on, and sell 150,000 more toys. I mean, you know, it's not going to make them go anywhere. It may make them rethink the way that they do things, but even at that, I don't think they're going to think very hard on that. You have people who can't get out of their homes right now, and we want to make money. So how are we going to get our movies to these people who won't get out of their homes? Let's put the movie in their home. That, to me, even after the pandemic, they've shown us now that they can do it, and they're willing to do it. And I see this being a permanent way of watching movies now. So I think a lot of actors are kind of looking at her to see what's going to happen here. But I don't know.
Yeah, the whole streaming aspect, especially with the pandemic, is opened some eyes and doors, and it's going to cause some different discussions, especially for things moving on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you think in the next tech step, that's the way to go. I'm not saying, well, movies are old-fashioned. You have to have it on film. You have to have certain equipment to play it, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. To whereas a streaming service, my equipment, whatever you have at home is the equipment. Disney doesn't have to worry about that. AMC doesn't have to worry about that. The consumer does. So, I don't know.
Yeah, they don't have to worry about getting copies over to all the theaters around the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Or cramming people into a small space and maybe making them sick. See, and that's a lot of, the other side of the chatter is how selfish can you be? But people nowadays, if you have money, you're the villain, and they're like, oh, this is just a billionaire fighting a billionaire. Why do we care? Well, because right is right and wrong is wrong. It doesn't matter how much money people have. If you have money, you're not a villain in my book. You've done something right. So it shouldn't matter how much money she has or how much money she made. If they told her they were going to do something, then they need to do it. But if she's upset because they didn't specifically say, this was what they were going to do, then, and honestly, you take it to court and they go on the pandemic defense, they're looking at a pandemic as an act of God. You can't sue somebody over an act of God. A neighbor's tree fell in my backyard and almost hit my house. I couldn't sue them for that. That was an act of God. I mean, it was something nobody could,
Could avoid.
Yeah. And that's the same thing with the pandemic, And you already had the movie theaters who weren't doing so well before the pandemic hit. So there's going to be a lot of them. I mean, AMC is not going to come out as strong as they were before the pandemic. I don't know how they'll recover, but even they are using a streaming service to sell people movies and stuff. So I don't know, because even the theater people are coming out now bitching about streaming services. Well, what's different than them selling a movie on their site to me than Disney selling me a movie? Because they're getting the money and Disney's not, or,
Right, you're cutting out the middleman. And in this case, the middleman is the theater corporation.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Who feel entitled to this. And it's not. It's up to Disney how they want to release their movies, If they want to go to all streaming, more power to them. If, they just want to do theater releases, same thing, more power to them. I think they'll take a hit that way. And, and she's saying that she's upset because they split the numbers, because now you have a streaming box office night and you have a box office at the theaters. And she was getting paid off the box office at the theaters. There needs to be a middle ground there, yes. But in the middle of a pandemic, do you think those box office numbers were as big as they would have been pre-pandemic, or even after, when we released some restrictions that we have on us now? So it's kind of like...
Yeah, see, the problem is that all this contract business was signed and was written and signed before the pandemic.
Yeah.
That's the deal, because this movie was originally slated to release at the very beginning of the pandemic, and that's why it was delayed over a year.
Yeah.
So none of this other shit existed when the contract was written and signed.
But don't you think that should play into some of this, though? I mean, Disney didn't ask for people to get sick. She didn't either.
I'm not saying it's Disney's fault either. I imagine that Disney's not handling it well, and I honestly don't think there's any chance in hell that this goes to court. I think this gets wrapped up before it gets to court.
I think so too.
Because that's how Disney rolls.
Yeah, that's the reason why she brought it out in public.
Well, and now that she's honking the horn, though, you have was it Emma Thompson who played Cruella? Emma Stone, who she's now thinking about suing Disney, and it's kind of like, wait, what? Your movie has been out for months now. You know, if you was going to do if you had that big of a problem with it, then you should have said something months ago, you know? Scarlett, you can kind of see she waited until the day it hit both streaming and the theaters to go, boom, here's my card, I'm playing. She didn't wait months after or months before. She made sure she got them. You know, you played it on your streaming, not what you were supposed to do.
Well, and if her lawyers were smart, then she had already approached Disney privately and said, "Hey, can we fix this?" and gotten a no answer from them, or at least not enough of an answer to hold back taking it public. That's the deal. Is she's trying to force their hand by threatening a PR nightmare. Yeah. It's got nothing to do with a lawsuit. Yes, they're talking about lawsuits, but this has got nothing to do with a lawsuit. She's in the middle of creating a PR nightmare for Disney, and Disney will not stand for that. They will shut this down
quickly. Yeah.
They will fix this.
I think the right thing to do, if I ran Disney, I would go, look, you've given us the last 12 years of your life. If $20 million is what you want to be happy from this whole Avenger experience, let us give you an extra $20 million. Do you know how many billions Disney made off Avengers? Whether, you know, of course it wasn't just all her, but she was a part of that. She was a part of that chemistry they put out to us and sold, you know. That's what I would do. Because once again, $20 million is nothing to Disney. I mean, you know, it's nothing. It's, okay, an extra 2 hours open at the park and we'll make this money back. You know, it's not going to break them to do the right thing. But Disney's lawyers don't know how to do the right thing. They were hired to win. Right or wrong, they were hired to win. And that's what they'll do.
Right, because they're going to be told what their answer is.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, in a way, you can't blame the lawyers because they're just following orders.
Right. And, you know, you're making money. If your boss tells you to do something that you don't want to do, you're still going to do it because they're signing your paycheck, you know. So, but yeah, like I said, it'll be interesting to see, and exactly not just her, but what all the other fallout from this is going to be. Because if it looks good for her, like we said, we may have Emma Stone jump on board. Dwayne Johnson was like, hell no, I ain't suing Disney. Do you know how many movies we have planned together and how many movies of theirs I've been in? You know, that's not what I'm going to do. Although he never agreed for streaming services either. But he's kind of taken the attitude of, you know, they've scratched my back and I'll scratch theirs.
Well, he's in a position where at this point he doesn't have to say anything. Because somebody else has already started the fight. He doesn't have to get into the fight. He's in a position of power here.
Well, he doesn't want him to fight because he's got more fights later on. You know, the whole Jungle Cruise that opened Friday. They've got a behind the scenes thing that he's directing now. His company was part of the production company that helped Disney do this. So he's got his money. He made his money before they even put it on the screen. He's in it
pretty deep. So yeah.
Yep. But his situation is a lot different than her situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
because of that, honestly.
Yeah.
Because he's wrapped up in it on different levels, and she's not.
Yep. And he's getting his money in more ways than box office. Mm-hmm. Box office to him was going to be a bonus. Well, it was a bonus for her too, but this was the last bonus from Disney. Unless she signs up for something, which I don't see that happening now. But this was the last paycheck Disney was giving to her.
She's already come out and said that this is over with anyway, obviously, since we know what happened to the character. But
yeah.
You were going to say something, Les?
I was just going to say that I have to agree with her. To me, the boys at Disney, knowing that the pandemic is ongoing, not that they knew that it was coming, but they knew that it was going they should have stepped in and said, let's talk about this right now. Make her happy. Make everyone else happy. And then move on.
Yeah.
Don't just say, look, we were hit with the pandemic like everyone else and we can't do anything.
Right.
Well, you could at first, but you have delayed doing anything.
Right. They would be fools to pretend that they're not making money out of this.
Right.
And that's what they'd have to do to get out from under whatever she's throwing down. And that would be bad. That would be dumb.
Yeah.
That would feed the PR nightmare.
I agree.
And so they're not going to do that. Yeah.
It'll definitely be interesting.
I think so.
Seeing that didn't take an hour.
No.
Half.
It took 24, yeah, it took about 24, 25 minutes.
Which is not terrible. I mean, no real complaints.
My talk's Roy's group discussion. It's all our time.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got to throw our little bits in here and there because otherwise people will forget we're on the show. But anyway.
What show?
Yeah, wait, there's a show? What are you talking about?
This news to me.
No, it's not a news show.
Yeah. Oh, no. Most certainly not. I don't know, though. The way... Never mind. I'm not going to start that down that rabbit hole. That would be bad.
Too late.
Yeah.
Say we got another 30 minutes?
No, we don't, because I'm moving on.
Thank you.
Which I mean, I don't even... Part of why I'm not too worried about her taking forever is because I don't really have much this week anyway. And when I say that, I tend to mean it. Now the only real thing I've done, I mean, for one, full disclosure, we recorded late last week, so
Right.
it's been a short week for us. And two, I have started working on my October homework.
Mm-hmm.
So I am now watching things that I don't want to talk about yet because I got to save up for
October.
For October, yeah, for when we start recording those. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I already have a definite feeling that I'm going to get in trouble a lot in October, but that's okay. I think it'll be fun to get in trouble. I'm not generally opposed to getting in trouble. So, yeah.
Uh-huh.
It was a very bad tease.
It's early. I have not watched a lot of stuff yet, so we will see. Hopefully I'm wrong, but so far.
Feel free to take over.
Take over what?
Picking stuff.
Oh, no. I'm not talking about getting in trouble with you. That wouldn't be any fun. I mean, hell.
Probably talking about me because he doesn't like any of them.
I haven't watched very much stuff yet, so like I said.
Okay, Les.
Well, I went to the movies this past week just to step out, see what was going on. And we went to see The Green Knight, which was pretty interesting. It's the story of, Sir Gawain? I know it's spelled Gawain.
Yeah, I've heard it pronounced in a lot of different ways, but yeah.
It was the story of him and the Green Knight, which, according to this interpretation, was the forest, a man that lived in the forest. I had a good time. It was pretty interesting as to what they were setting forward. because Gohan had to meet with the Green Knight 1 year after they had first battled. And when I say battled, in this one, Gohan went up, chopped the Green Knight's head off, and thought, well, that's it. Well, no, it wasn't. The Green Knight said, you will meet me within 1 year, and I will deal with you as you dealt with me. And so they didn't linger all that long to get to the second meeting of the two, which I thought was a good idea, rather than make the audience sit there for a hell of a long time, which they could have done. But it was a good show. I enjoyed it. There was no sex, so
Aww.
that was.
Were you expecting some? I mean,
Are you asking me or her?
well, you're the one that's complaining.
No, I wasn't complaining. I'm saying that sex would not have had any meaning for this storyline.
Yeah, right.
Not in the stainless steel underwear that they're all wearing, anyway.
No. Try to get out of that quickly. No, it ain't going to happen.
The moment is gone by the time you get a socket wrench and all of that.
That's right. But I recommend it. It's a pretty good show.
That one did look really good.
Cool. Yeah, I've seen a couple of ads for it, and I'm glad it turned out good.
Okay. For me, not a whole heck of a lot. I actually, kind of like Mike, I had already started working on stuff for October. I certainly got this stuff over for our special, all the horror special. Also kind of started working on stuff for next year, trying to get stuff kind of tentatively lined up. So trying to move ahead.
Staying on top of it, jeez.
Well, I mean, we're looking at 48 or so weeks of stuff. I got to come up with some ideas. You know. Alrighty. Before we get into this week's discussion, I'd like to point out once again that we do have a Discord that y'all are more than welcome to come join. We post news items, discussion topics, memes, videos. If the trailer drops, we usually post something up there for that. Have some exclusive activities, and everything's free. Sign up for Discord is free. To download the app is free. If you go to our website, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, and right there on the home page, there is an invite. You just click on that link or click on that image, and it'll pop up an invite that you can just accept and jump on in. We've been having fun doing it. We've been on this for a little over a year now. We started up just right around when the pandemic hit, or not too long after that. So it's been a good year or so, and we've enjoyed it. So come hang with us.
Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah.
It's fun. We sometimes even have extra special bonus clips from when we record these things. Behind the scenes.
It's usually Paco. He likes his 15 minutes.
15 minutes of growling, but anyway.
All right. we didn't have a chance to do this last year because of what has been going on in the world, but in the past we have taken an episode to preview what is coming out for Free Comic Book Day and kind of point out a few books that caught our attention. And so this year will be no different, except for the fact that it's being held in August instead of May. So with that being said, what pops out to you guys? What kind of catches your eye?
Not gonna lie, the Smurf Tales. Yeah. I didn't realize that Nickelodeon was doing a new Smurf series, so this will kind of give you the preview if you want to waste your time on it or not.
Wow.
Well, are you for it or are you against it?
I'm for it. I like the Smurfs. That was
okay, because you were not selling it particularly to begin with.
No.
Yeah.
Well, because we talked about reboots.
Well, fair enough.
And what they've done to my childhood.
Oh God. Your
so this will kind of give us
anyway, but that's beside the point.
How far off are they going to go from the normal thing, and
Well, hopefully they won't go He-Man. Oh God, that's been horrible to read on social media.
I was gonna watch that until I heard like one of the main things, and I don't understand how they're calling it He-Man then, but I won't go there.
Well, and I'm gonna point out the one thing that through all of this, I'm right there with you, because this was not something I watched when I was younger. So I have no.
Yeah, Smurfs was a little late for us.
Well, I'm talking about He-Man right now.
Oh, okay.
I watched
Master Universe. Yeah.
I watched He-Man.
Well, I didn't watch the Smurfs either, so I didn't watch either one. But just the Masters of the Universe is kind of what I was getting. But as a lot of people have pointed out, guys got to realize this was 30 minutes of toy commercials. That's all it was. So it was a cartoon basically to introduce new toys.
Yeah.
Right. And you were probably between the ages of 6 and 12. It wasn't as good as you thought it was anyway.
Right.
So come on. Let it go.
The scripts were horrible. And there was always a moral to the story, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was essentially, hey, He-Man's got a new ship. Oh, hey, look, there's one in the toy store right now. Go buy it.
How convenient.
The new Castle of Grayskull.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
but
if it was a great show, they would have come up with a better friggin' name than He-Man. I mean, come on.
Well, we did get She-Ra from it, so was it too horrible?
You go from one controversy to another. Let's not go there.
Yeah, the reboot on that was something else. But yeah, I liked He-Man, though, because there wasn't a lot of other cartoons out at that time that was that, I don't want to say advanced, because it was He-Man, but that wasn't some kind of little fantasy doodad, or, it was, it was a toy commercial, but it was a good toy commercial, man.
Okay, so Smurfs.
Right, now that we've spent 10 minutes talking about He-Man.
I'd like to see if they go more towards the cartoon side with this or more towards the movie side. I'm hoping they go towards the cartoon side with this.
Oh, come on, the Smurfs need to be dark and gritty.
Yeah, no kidding. We need to make this for a modern audience, and we need to make it for the people who watched the show in the first place, so they're all 40 and pissed off. So it needs to be dark Smurf time. They're all wearing black pants and black hats.
And Papa Smurf has to say fuck one time.
Right. And they're all chasing Gargamel to be caught.
Fuck Gargamel.
Life is over. Where's Azrael?
Anyway, that's not what the book is about, people.
No, not at all, yeah.
Just want to make sure everybody understands that.
If it was good. No.
I didn't watch the program at all, so all this insight is really good. I appreciate this.
Yeah, okay. Don't believe anything you're hearing here, dude.
And Smurfs, what was it, like the 80s? Was like the big thing that they sold at the book fairs and stuff, too. So it wasn't just cartoons that I was into. I mean, my first big well was Smurfette. But yeah, so I like I said, I hope they stay with the cartoon side of this.
Sure, why not?
Yeah. All right. Who wants to go next?
Well, I'm excited because, and I'm excited that it has become kind of almost a tradition. But we're getting a new Tick free comic.
Yeah.
I don't know any details about it, but I'm excited that we're getting a new Tick free comic.
Yeah, that's one of the few they didn't tell us about.
Yep. But that's okay. They don't have to. I don't care. I want it anyway.
I certainly hope it's not a rehash of something that's been published before.
Which republished?
That they've done before.
Yeah, they have. It's true. So.
But I hope they stray away from that.
Yep. Keep being optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
Open.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to the 10 Tons of Fun preview from 10 Ton Press. They're featuring 4 stories, and it looks like they've mixed it up so you've got some light humor and a little more grit in some of the others. So I want to see that make its way into the bookshelves. Not just the preview, but the bookshelves.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Alrighty. One of them that I'm interested in, it's coming from Boom Studios. It's Just Beyond Monstrosity. And this is a story of 2 kids whose father and uncle buys an old movie studio and decides to reopen it up and start making horror movies until the kids find out that the monsters are real. And this is actually based on a show that's going to be on Disney Plus. This was written by R.L. Stine.
Yes, I've seen the advertisement for the program.
What was the name of this again?
Just Beyond Monstrosity.
Sounds cute.
Yep. Cute.
We've got our first cute.
Yeah.
Well, R.L. Stine is good at creepy cute.
Funny how we have to get into the horror books before we get cute, but okay.
We went dark and gritty with Smurfs, but R.L. Stine's cute, so okay.
Yeah.
Now, could you imagine if R.L. Stine wrote the Smurfs? Ooh. It'd be like the Tribbles all over it.
Be like Predators.
Wow. Just wow.
Wow.
All right.
All right. One that I'm excited about. I've picked this book a few times. One of the wonderful things I love about Free Comic Book Day is sometimes they will give you an extra story that you're not getting in your comics to kind of get you into that series. And that's what they're doing with Stray Dogs. They're giving us a extended story that's kind of a prequel to what they've put out so far, to kind of let us know a little bit more backstory about the dog and the owner that he was taken from. So I'm excited about that one. This has been a really cute story. I shouldn't say cute because it's kind of fucked up what happened to these dogs, but they're like Disney dogs. They're so cute. So I'm excited to see what the expanded story is on that, because they've kind of told us some of it, or they've hinted at some of it, but the main story doesn't really, you don't really need to know what completely happened to her, just what happened, But I think this will go fully into what happened and how this guy marked her, because basically, if you haven't read the series, we're finding out that like a guy is stalking these women, and I think there's been a couple of men too, and in order to kidnap them or kill them, he has, if you have a dog in your house, they want to get rid of your dog first, just to make it easier when they go in to do whatever, and that's where these stray dogs are coming from. They're coming from victims that these dogs have been moved out of the way because they're in the way. And these dogs are kind of piecing all of this together and figuring out, hey, my owner did love me, and that's fucked up. So, should be good.
And she found the dog book.
And
I wasn't surprised about that.
and somehow she twisted it to make it cute.
Yeah.
That's three cutes tonight, young lady.
Right. Well, the dogs are cute. Their little stories are
There's
cute.
4.
It's the outside story that's like, whoa. They have no idea what they're walking into,
Oh, yeah, when we post this episode, we need to post the drinking game with it. It says you have to take a shot every time Liz says the word cute. Except that we would kill all of our listeners. Yeah.
Yeah.
Please don't do that, people. Please don't do that.
Right. If you're an alcoholic, let me help you out. Cute, 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 cute.
Wow.
Damn. Wow. Okay, so I'm gonna pick one that I actually, it's one of those rare ones that you read the description of and you're like, oh no, that sounds crazy and just dumb, and I don't want to have anything to do with that. But now that it's been worming its way through my brain for a little while, I'm like, I'm actually kind of curious how this would work.
Right.
And so this is the Archie one. The first line of the description they wrote for this is, it's the crisis of infinite Archies. And I'm like, oh, that sounds crazy. That sounds goofy. I don't want to do it. But okay, number one, it's Archie, so it's actually generally pretty good stuff anyway. So I'm like, all right, now that I'm thinking about it and it's wormed its way into my brain a little bit, I'm curious as to what that really means and how they're going to handle that. Call me weird, which lots of people do repeatedly. But
Weirdo.
I don't want to be wrong.
but I want to know what multiple universe Archies look like and act like. How they interact, I don't know if that even matters. I'm just curious to see what that means, really.
When 80 years, he's had a lot of looks.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I would think that they would draw all the different versions from like the 40s till now. That would be actually cool to look at.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
Also, I find it ironic that you get Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman and all of these other big characters getting their 80th anniversary books, and they're all big, huge monstrosities, and you have to pay a bunch of money for them. And Archie does one, and it's on Free Comic Book Day, and nobody pays anything for it.
Right.
Yep.
A thank you to the fans.
Mm-hmm. That's what those other ones should have been anyway, but I digress.
Yeah.
Should be fun. Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
My second choice, and I dare her to make this cute, is Enter the House of Slaughter. This is something I can't really tell you what it's about because they didn't post much of anything. But I'm kind of interested in this. I want to see how they turn the horror genre and how they cope with all of this. So I'm kind of ready for this. Want to see what they can do.
Yeah, this is going to be the spinoff from something something
killing the children.
Killing the children. Yeah, this is a spinoff from that.
James
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is a good title. That's fun to read.
Yes. So it's pretty awesome that they're already doing a spinoff, that it's done well enough that they feel that they can do a spinoff and expand the story further. That's really cool. All right. Another one that's caught my attention is The Adventures of Bailey School Kids. This is from Graphics. And Bailey Elementary is having issues with their third graders, so much so that the teachers are leaving. They quit. But they get a new one, and she may or may not be a vampire. So it's like this could be cute. There you go, Liz. I said it for you.
It's cute.
Well, I can't count that one. Oh well.
But I'm like, that's kind of an interesting little synopsis there. So
yeah, little plot twist.
A little could be a little fun.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what all this is supposed to be for. You know, just have some fun.
True.
Mm. Like Fright Night, but at recess.
There you go. Y'all have any other picks?
Well, there is one more that if you're reading the series, they're giving us another bonus story, which is going to be Red Room. I think Red Room is like on issue 3 or 4. It's not that far into the series, but they're saying this would be a good entry point for people if you don't want to get the one or two that they've published before this one. This has kind of been a different story that it's been a good horror story, one that I haven't read like this in a long time, but it deals with a lot of the like dark web. People are committing murders on webcams and stuff, and they don't show you who the murderers are, but like people are cheering them on, and this is fun. This is entertainment for them. So
it's cute.
It's not too cute. There's been nothing cute in this book. But you know, I've said with my movies, I've wanted something to scare me, and this has definitely done it in comic book. They've been real good, gruesome horror stories. So if you want to get into the series, this be a good one to try out for free. See if you like that kind of thing or not. For some people, it's off-putting. I guess for me it's fantasy, so it's not, oh, that's too much blood, So, but it has been good.
She's like, no such thing as too much blood.
Yeah.
Keep it coming.
Not a comic book,
In the red room with black curtains.
Yeah.
At the station.
That's right.
But it's been one that's been doing pretty well on the charts, too.
Alrighty.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So for the fantasy gamers among us, this is actually probably not super surprising, but that they're combining two properties into one. Well, it's not one story. It's two different stories, including two different fairly significant properties. So Dark Horse has slapped together a Critical Role based story with a Witcher based story. So two separate stories. And I kind of do get into the fantasy gaming thing, and I also kind of have a soft spot in my heart, for fantasy comics. So, two itches, one scratch. You know what I mean? Fun.
Not to say no more.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, sounds cool.
The other one I had was Trailer Park Boys, which I have started watching religiously. But Trailer Park Boys is new stuff, and I want to see how they handle this, because the three main characters are such idiots that it's fun to watch, and it'll be fun to see how they do handle it. So I'm in on that one.
Cool.
Okay. Another one I have is from Mad Cave Studios, Bountiful Garden. And this is a story about a crew of teenage geniuses who've been cryogenically frozen, and they're on a trip to terraform other worlds. They find out that there's an incident that stops the ship and awakens them 10 years earlier than expected, above a planet that's not on any of the charts. So half the crew stays on the ship and assesses what's going on with the ship, where the other half of the crew goes to the planet and tries to find out what the hell's going on and try to find out something about this planet. I'm like, that sounds cool.
That does sound interesting.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's just a sampling of what you might expect on Free Comic Day. We'll have a link to you where you can go to the website, check out all the titles that are going to be available. Your local comic shop may not have all of them, but should have a good portion of them. And I'll also have a listing of the stores who will be participating. Well, a lot of the stores who've opted in to be on the website that are going to be part of Free Comic Day. If your store is not listed, I would advise that you would go to their social media, Facebook, Twitter, what have you, or go to the website, or just ask them if they're going to be part of Free Comic Day, just so you can know. And it's going to be August the 14th, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, definitely go check them out. Of course, do it as safe as you can. Pick up some free comic books, and please spend a little money because the comics may be free to you, but it's not free to them. So try to help them out, recoup some of the money they spent. And of course, a lot of stores have a lot of fun activities and stuff. So yeah, they're always fun. Free Comic Day is always fun. So try to have a little fun through these dark times by going to your local comic shop and supporting them and getting some free comics.
Yeah.
And if I may,
sure.
Not on the list is the DC title, and they do have a comic coming out for Free Comic Book Day, so be sure to look for that too.
Is that the one that was called I Am Batman?
It's called Batman and Robin and Harold.
Okay.
Harold?
Yeah.
Is that Harold back from the 90s? That Harold? The one the hunchback guy who was basically turned into his version of Q?
No, not that I know of.
Okay.
It looks like just a kid.
Oh, okay.
Maybe Robin's age.
Okay. All right.
Howard. I'm sorry. Batman, Robin, and Howard.
Oh, Howard. Okay. All right. Well, still, it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's cute.
I'm sure.
I'm going to charge that one to you.
So, yes, please go support your local comic book shop and have fun with Free Comic Book Day. On that note, we're going to take a quick break and be back with our weekly picks. And we're back. It's time for our weekly picks, and leading off is Les.
Thank you, sir. My first pick is Pennyworth, #1, from DC Comics. This is the story of Alfred Pennyworth between the hit TV series and today. Hit TV series being Gotham, not Batman. In this, Alfred tells of his adventures as an MI6 counterintelligence agent, and this is during the Cold War. I'm interested in this because, as I've said before, I am binging on Gotham, and to see Alfred in this version be somebody that kicks ass, and then he may take names or he may just keep kicking. I'm wanting to see how this is going to pan out, and I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Does sound good.
Yep, Alfred's awesome.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
We all know he's a badass, so it'd be cool to hear some stories on why.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All righty. Liz, you're next.
All right. For my first pick, it's a new one from Aftershock Comics, and it's called Campisi, the Dragon Incident. This will follow Sony Campisi, who he's a fixer for the mob. You got a problem? He fixes it. Well, that's all fine and good, and he's pretty good at his job until a dragon comes to town.
Dragons are hard to fix.
Yeah, pretty hard to fix that problem. Plus, they said when the dragon shows up, it starts off a chain reaction that even Sonny himself can't fix. So, we'll see where this goes, and I don't know, it's got a dragon in it.
Right. How can you go wrong with that? Jeez.
Yeah. They said it's one part Get Shorty and one part Dragon Slayer.
Wow.
interesting.
Don't you just remove the flint?
All righty, Mike.
Okie dokie. My first pick is from Titan. And I am picking Elric, the Dreaming City, #1. This is notable for two reasons. One, they are re-adapting the Michael Moorcock stories, which is awesome. The plan is they're going to do them in chronological order.
Oh.
So there we go. And the other notable part of this is the cover is from Mike Mignola. And it looks pretty cool. So if you want to be shallow, get it for the cover. If you want a cool fantasy story, get it for the Elric.
Cool.
Does it list who the artist is?
It lists Julian Tello.
Okay. Yeah, they've done several series of Elric, and they've all been really good.
Yep.
I don't think I've read any of them.
Well, here's your chance.
I will.
Oh. Dun, dun, dun.
Pick it up.
All right, I am next, and for my first choice, it comes from DC Comics as well, and it's Batman '89. This series is continuing the Tim Burton Batman films. It's written by Sam Hamm, who wrote the screenplay wrote the story and screenplay, if I'm not mistaken, of the first film, with Jose Quinones doing the art. And in this story, we have a couple of Gotham citizens who are dressing up as Batman and Joker battling on the streets. And Harvey Dent decides he's going to eliminate this issue by getting rid of the inspiration, Batman. So it sounds like they're trying to set up the Billy D. Williams Two-Face that we were hoping we were going to get. So this ought to be fun.
Yeah, that does sound like.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Alrighty, Les, you're next.
Number 2 is The Citizen, #1 from Action Lab. I want to read this one. It's about a journalist who is the only non-superhuman in the city where the heroes and villains all have powers. I want to read this because was it not Normal Man from years ago that had the same idea?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see how these two compare. But I'm hoping that this is going to be fun because they're going to twist it a bit. So yeah, I'm ready to try this out.
Yeah, Normal Man was fun because the whole concept was he was as a child he was rocketed off from planet. His parents were accountants, and the rocket ship landed on a planet where everybody had powers. So it's basically an anti-Superman story.
Yes.
And it's a fun read. So yeah, if handled well, it could be a great story. And I think this was on my radar as well. So I'm definitely interested in checking it out.
Awesome.
Alrighty, Liz, you're up again.
All right. For my second pick, it's from DC Comics. We're going to go back 10 years. 10 years ago, 10 years ago, DC decided that they were going to reboot their characters. They were going to give them new stories. They were going to start them over at number 1. A lot of them were getting new origin stories, and they were only going to have 52 titles. And this was the beginning of the new 52. This is the deluxe edition. They're taking 11 of the first ones that came out for 52, which were Action, Animal Man, Aquaman, Justice League, Wonder Woman, the main cash cows. And actually, it was kind of interesting because they did get some really good pairings together. Right off the top of my head, they put Morrison with Morales to do Superman, so it seemed like they had a really awesome writer. They paired him with some really good artists, and they were hoping it would take off from there. We all know the end of that story. They veered off from the 52 path, and we wound up getting more than 52 titles, and everything came crashing down into a rebirth, which I think we'll talk about in a few weeks. But this kind of gives you, if you missed all of that, if you missed the new 52, this will kind of give you a glimpse into that. And like I said, in this book, they are taking what I thought was 11 of the best titles that they did. It may have been the first titles they did too, with some really good pairings to give us a story. So if you didn't collect those, this is the book to get to collect those. And like I said, it's all of the good ones: Batman, Flash, Wonder Woman, Superman, all the favorites. So it should be a pretty good book.
Sounds good.
Nice.
I think they had a good ideal at first. They lost sight of that.
They didn't leave it alone.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can do 53, maybe 54.
Whoa.
I mean, wasn't there like 102 titles by the time they clambered it back down and was like rebirth? There was quite a few. Definitely a long ways from the 52 they wanted.
Maybe the next one they do will be 52-ish.
Ish. Yeah. Well, I noticed after a while they even dropped the new 52 off the comic books because even they knew themselves they weren't getting anybody. But I mean, it did last for 5 years before Rebirth. So there was a few good stories off in there.
Alrighty, Mikey.
Okie dokie. My second pick, I'm going back more than 10 years. I say that, this is a new book, but it is a story that took place in the 50s. And Albatross Funny Books is putting out a graphic novel called Did You Hear What Eddie Gein Done? And this is a story, a real life story that really happened, that has been copied in just an uncountable number of different ways, to make some of the most memorable, essentially horror stories of this generation and the last one, and honestly another one before that. But so this is basically a true crime take on the Ed Gein story. And he was the killer who inspired such films as Psycho, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and The Silence of the Lambs, according to this. So yeah, this is the real story that really happened that inspired parts of those stories. You don't have to be a true crime fan to find this interesting. It should be really good, and it doesn't hurt that. In addition to the writer of this is Harold Schechter. He is being helped out by Eric Powell on this one. So there you go.
Pretty cool.
That was on my list, and I've read a book about Gein, and it was scary as hell. It was how he proceeded to do all these things and just walked away from it. People didn't question him. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, too.
Yep.
For my second choice, I'm going with my. If you're a long-time listener, you know that I'm a big fan of Marvel's Epic Collection. And I'm not sure if this is a new printing or this has not come out before. But anyway, it's Captain America, the Captain. And this collects issues 333 through 350 and Iron Man 228. And this is a story of the U.S. government asking, trying to get Steve Rogers to work as an agent for them, and he refuses, so he gives up the identity of Captain America, and it's passed on to John Walker. So it seems funny that it's coming out now. It should probably come out a little bit earlier when we had Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming out, because it would be great timing, but no one asked me. But this was a great story. I've got these issues, but I'm going to definitely get this as a collection. And it was, so I definitely recommend it. You got David Michelin, Mark Greenwald, Bob Layton writing the stories, and you got John Byrne, Tom Morgan, Mark Bright doing the pencils. It's just a great story arc that has a ending that you don't expect coming, but I mean, part of it you do, but part of it you don't. So, but it's a great read.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is where Steve Rogers takes up the Captain identity. This, of course, this is late '80s where everybody's wearing black. So,
right.
You know, he's wearing black. You got Spider-Man in a black costume, all that good stuff. So. Which I still love that costume, the black, red, and white outfit. I still kind of dig that. So, but alrighty. Any special shout-outs or mentions this week?
Don't think so. We should just go ahead and reiterate the Free Comic Book Day thing. If you get a chance. And you feel comfortable doing so, of course.
Right.
Get out there and hit your local comic shop and grab a couple of free books, and grab a couple of not free books too, because you were gonna anyway. I mean, come on, seriously.
Right.
So go for it.
Yeah, definitely. Support your local stores.
Yeah. And also, we're kind of keeping an eye on things, I guess, before our next meetup. So, stay tuned.
Yeah. We had been talking about having a meetup this month. Things are a little bit more up in the air with the way things have been progressing. So, if you're on our Discord, just keep an eye on that. We'll be posting stuff. I'll probably post something here tonight or tomorrow regarding an update. So, yeah. Okay. We'll move on to our regular shout-outs. I want to thank Pop Goes to Culture Podcast Network for allowing us to be part of a great group of fellow podcasts. Definitely check them out. There will be a link in the show notes. Thank you, guys. We also want you to check out the fine men and women who make up Potter and Family, who have been so gracious enough to spread the word of the fellowship on Twitter by sharing our links. I want you to go check them out as well. And the best way to do that is do a search, #Potter and Family, all one word, and just scroll through the list, and whatever catches your attention, by all means, click on that link, download that episode, and I hope you have a good time listening to them. Thank you guys for your support as always. I want to thank Maddie the Martyr for spotting the music to our podcast. There will be a link in the show notes where you can check out their music. Thank you guys. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We value your feedback. Any questions, complaints, observations, suggestions, what have you, please send them our way. The best way to do that is, well, there are several ways you can do that. Our email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Or you can go to the website, go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form you can fill out there. And as I already mentioned, there's a link to our Discord. We do have a section in our Discord for feedback. You can post your thoughts and feelings there. Or if you don't want to do it so publicly, you can just contact any one of us. Social media-wise, we are on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks. And obviously we're on Twitter @Fellowship Geeks. Please follow us there, and you can send us messages. If you like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found @MikeyGeek. Liz can be found @LN_geek. Les may or may not be found @FakeLesWebster. There may be a hint there, maybe not. And I can be found @TomTCGeek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you'd be so kind to rate and review our show, we would greatly appreciate it. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for listening.
We do appreciate your support, and we do appreciate you checking us out. Until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook @The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter @Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,